seen that people from all around the world are being tracked through the use of these types of spyware as a service technologies that can get onto your phone through really simple methods. Okay. And this story just got a little bit crazier because I saw the word death and murder. Hold on a minute. When contacted by the outlets involved in the investigation, spokespeople for these countries either denied that Pegasus was used or denied that they had abused their powers of surveillance. So it's like they're assuming that some of these countries or governments or organizations are using this technology to spy on people of interest. It was not clear how many of the devices on the list had actually been targeted, but forensic analysis of 37 of the phones showed that there had been attempted and successful hacks, according to the Washington Post. This included people close to Saudi journalist Jamal, who was murdered in October 2018. So this journalist was murdered in October 2018 while visiting the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. His body was then dismembered. That is crazy. You know what? I actually heard about this. I remember this. Whoa. I did not know that these could be linked. Does anybody else remember this happening? A journalist went in to the consulate and suddenly the next thing you know, the guy was just dead. The investigation found that spyware was installed on his fiance's phone days after his murder, and that his wife's phone was being targeted by spyware between September 17 and April 2018. So she had spyware on it before and after. Super interesting. What is going on here? The NSO group said that his technology is not associated in any way with... Of course they said that. They're like, we're not associated in any way with the heinous murder. The phone of a Mexican journalist, Cecilio, also appeared twice on the list, including in the month before he was murdered too. Yo, this is crazy. What is going on here? What is going on here? His phone disappeared from the scene of the murder, so a forensic examination was not possible. NSO said that even if his phone was targeted, that did not mean that the data collected was connected with his murder. Well, hey, if you have access to his location at all times, I don't know how it couldn't be connected. So interesting. Who has been targeted using this software? All kinds of people, some of them dead. So yeah, this is back and forth. Obviously, no one's admitting to anything. The governments are like, we're not aware of anything going on. But at the same time, regular people are like, yo, we're hacked. So maybe, and they're trying to say that this software is only being sold to governments. So somebody in a position of power is using it to hack their devices because these devices are being checked and they have this Pegasus company's signature on it, like, oh, you got hacked by Pegasus. Oh, interesting. Yeah, obviously everybody denied everything. WhatsApp sued the Pegasus company in 2019, alleging that the company was behind cyber attacks on 1,400 mobile phones involving Pegasus. At the time, they denied any wrongdoing, but the company has been banned from using WhatsApp. That's so funny. Meta or Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg was like, dude, we need to ban these guys. I don't know how much. Oh, like directly banning them? Did the company send out text messages that hacked people? Yo, that is drama. That is real drama right there. I'm kind of interested in potentially doing like a deep dive into this on another call, because this really does affect anybody and everybody. Like anybody can be touched by this at any point for whatever reason, especially if it can happen remotely. Because this tech is not just it's not just governments that have this. Anybody can get this tech. If you for some reason at any point in time become a person of interest to a hacker, or for example, if your information was leaked. Okay, so here's the crazy thing. Hold on. Here's the crazy thing about this right here. The crazy thing about this right here is that from all the past days that we've been streaming, we've found out that there are all kinds of attacks, all kinds of hackers, and all kinds of data available on the dark web. Stuff that a lot of times is not even in your control. For example, if like a company gets breached or hacked and they have some kind of information on you that might be useful or monetizable to an attacker. Imagine this. If you own a crypto wallet, we're going to talk about a classic target for attackers. We've just learned that if you have a crypto wallet and that information gets leaked somewhere, somehow, whether it's from your own device getting some kind of spyware, or if it's another company that somehow leaks that, hey, this person owns digital assets and holds them on their computer, on their device or their browser. This this person, John Smith, holds digital assets on their computer or on their phone. A person looking for that kind of information, they might get a whole list of people, potential targets. There are tools and software that can help these attackers and these bad actors find those lists and then automate the process of attacking every single one of them to get access to those wallets. Some people, I've heard this story many, many times. Some people have no clue how their wallet got drained. And these people have like automated bots that are pulling out anything and everything that hits the accounts. Like it's like it permanently has a vacuum attached to it, where even if they have certain assets that aren't being pulled out, for example, digital collectibles or NFTs or currencies that the attacker did not target to drain, and these people try to send a little bit of gas, ETH or Matic or whatever currency, just to be able to get those other assets out of that compromised wallet, and they see that money disappear the instant it pops into the wallet. An attacker could get all of these softwares, line them up, automate their process, maybe even they're using AI tools, and they can get any of these companies' tech and like mass send text messages to everybody that is a potential target. And suddenly, just the fact that you use or you've ever downloaded a crypto wallet has suddenly compromised your mobile phone and your desktop browser. All of this stuff is happening in automation. People aren't manually trying to break into your home or into your devices anymore. This is the internet, and clearly there are tools available for these people to operate at scale. And we have got to take the right steps to prevent that from happening. So there's something on iPhones specifically that can prevent that from happening to some degree. Like it gives you a lot more coverage. It's something called lockdown mode. If you own an iPhone, go into your phone right now in the settings, and on the search bar at the top of your iPhone settings, search up lockdown, just the word lockdown, and you're going to see an option pop up in your privacy settings, and it's called lockdown mode. Before you activate it, read into it, learn about it a little bit more. But Apple made that feature specifically to prevent and to minimize the damage from these kinds of hacks that we just learned about. All right, so we learned some crazy stuff. Today. I'm gonna take this rabbit hole even deeper. It gets even deeper. So not only is this available to not just governments and in some cases, like basically anybody, but there are public forums. There are public forums that are made for people to submit zero-day exploits. Zero-day exploits are let's call it the backdoors. Here we go. Oh, I love this feature. A 0 day is a vulnerability or security hole in a computer system or phone system unknown to its developers or anyone capable of mitigating it. Until the vulnerability is remedied, threat actors can exploit in a 0 day exploit or 0 day attack. So how phones are hackable today is through these exploits. And there is literally public forums. Companies like Zerodium pay anybody and everybody that can find these hacks money for those exploits. And okay, so this is crazy. This is a whole business, right? We talked about how some people or some companies like Celebrate and Pegasus and whoever else, they've built their entire business around the ability of being able to break into phones. No matter what these trillion-dollar companies like Google and Apple are doing to protect phones and fix those issues, there are companies that have made an entire business specifically on breaking into them. When you put it that way, it makes me also think like, how is this legal? How is this like a normal thing? Normally, like, okay, selling someone a device to break into a house and disable an alarm system, normally that kind of thing is like it's not normally available in like your local hardware store or something like that. But these guys are. And obviously with their entire business being around these exploits, these zero day exploits, companies like Zerodium might be supplying them. This is my theory. The company is now reportedly spending between $1 to $3 million each month for vulnerability acquisitions. But check this out. Okay, check out this video that I found on the subject. So this is the kind of thing that you would normally see on the dark web. I don't know who they were selling these exploits to, maybe to the legitimate companies, maybe to the illegitimate companies. We know damn well that the illegitimate and black market companies are pretty wealthy and they have the cash to do this. Like this kind of tech, those 0 day vulnerabilities for phones, That's the kind of tech that you might find in one of these ransomware situations where the average ransomware is $2 million. Like the average ransom is $2 million. I'm curious now. I'm curious. Okay, let's see. A lot of these ransomware situations are a result of an employee or an individual that works there getting hacked. I'm trying to look for one of these that show what the hack was. Let's see, Prime Asset Fund. Do they have some details? No, they don't have the details. I'm clicking random ones here just because I'm looking for something specific. There we go. So there were no compromised employees, but imagine if you could just buy. This is like a multi-billion-dollar industry, hacking into businesses and stealing their information and holding it for ransom. So if you could buy a simple, unchecked vulnerability in their devices on their iPhone or Android or computer, I'm sure that these vulnerabilities and zero-day attacks are anywhere and everywhere. Clearly, there was a market for it, and they made it into like a legitimate market. But let's jump into a video about this that I wanted to check out and get some more info on it. So this is what Zerodium, a bug bounty, zero-day bounty marketplace looked like before. Interesting. Zerodium focuses on high-risk vulnerabilities with fully functional exploits, and they pay the highest rewards in the market, up to $2.5 million per submission. So clearly they're making some profit. They are in the business of hacking devices, of trading that information. These guys are just an information broker. They get into operating systems, remote code execution. Remote code execution means you get hacked and somebody from somewhere else in the world is able to start doing things on your computer. So hacking a bug, they're trying to look for bugs and exploits in software, into phones, onto devices, onto web apps and email servers and web servers. This is like that movie. You know, you guys see a movie or you see someone like, what's that TV show called? Mr. Robot? Like the movie style hacking where they break completely into a device and they have access to everything. This is what these guys are paying money for. They want that action movie hack ability. So wait, let's just turn this on and let it run.
This is Zerodium, and you can see right down there at the bottom, it sticks out real fast. Up to $2.5 million US per submission. So as you scroll down, there's a couple different primary categories. There's the desktop and servers category, and then there's the mobile category down here. Under mobile, you can see up to $2.5 million US for an Android full chain persistent zero-click exploit. What that means is if I find a vulnerability in, let's say, an SMS app where I can send you a text and you don't even have to do it. You don't have to click on a phishing link or anything. I just send you something and it roots your phone and gives me remote access to it. That's what they're talking about here. And
that's
if
like
you
Pegasus,
go down,
right?
yes, exactly like Pegasus. If you go down a notch here.
Interesting. So they mentioned Pegasus. He was like, exactly like Pegasus. Zero click, guys. This is hectic. Yeah, super interesting. They're paying $2.5 million to be able to just send a text message and get complete access of someone's device. Dude, if, for example, if they were to find like a politician or an Elon Musk or some wealthy person's device and just send a text message to them to get full complete access and be able to potentially steal money or something or hold that ransom over a person of interest, of course they're willing to pay $2.5 million. There's probably like a countless number of black hat hackers who want that kind of thing. These organizations, the ones that run like organized crime in cybercrime, they're not playing around. They are super organized. It is truly definitively organized crime, and they're able to do so much at scale. We see it, groups like Anonymous and stuff. But yeah, let's get deeper into this.
The Pegasus, that's iOS. So there's up to $2 million. I remember one time when I believe it was Zerodium, they used to be called Vupin. I believe it's the same company, that they said we're no longer, or we're temporarily not accepting Apple iOS 0 days because they had enough of them. That's crazy. And then they opened it back up again because now it's even harder to weaponize and find those. It's not just one exploit anymore. It's like 3, 4, or even more exploits chained together to get you that remote code execution. And then you see other big apps, like WhatsApp is huge, right? iMessage, Telegram, Signal's a big one. There's also bounties for things like Tor nodes and browsers like Tor, the Tor browser, or de-anonymization of Tor nodes on the darknet. Here's the desktop and server one. So up to $1 million US for a Windows remote code execution 0-click. Chrome, Apache. So up to $500,000 for a remote code execution with local privilege escalation against Chrome on Windows. Those are some significant payments. But that goes back to my point, which is, who are you selling it to? Who are the customers of Zerodium in this case? So as you work your way out, and
this guy read my mind. Who are you selling this to? Like, what is going on? That's a lot of money to be investing into these 0-clicks or these vulnerabilities. It's just information. All right, guys, this is just information that they're buying. Like, if anybody, they're like, look, if anybody knows how, like, what combination of actions need to be taken to crack into the safe, into the vault, we will pay you $2.5 million for it. So who are you selling it to? And I'm so glad that this guy jumped right on it. Yo, especially with cybercrime, well, really any kind of crime, and most mysteries follow the money, and we might get some.
Now, with regard to just stories, I guess more like, I'll say a couple examples where I've been hit up on Twitter, DMs. People have gotten my Signal info somehow and sent me a message that obviously I didn't give this number out to anyone, where it was all about going onto container ships and backdooring firmware to kind of affect the supply chain of things. Because routers and switches and such, those are in aggregate points and ISPs and other organizations where you now have access to some significant amount of traffic, or people who request that you meet them at a coffee shop. So that's one thing I'd recommend. If you're someone who has a that you think is worth money, and people aren't going to pay for stuff like some random FTP client or server. It's got to be the things that you saw on that Zerodium site. That's the kind of apps people will buy exploits for. Don't ever send them the exploit or the trigger unless you've been paid.
So this is clearly like a white hat hacker kind of guy. And this is interesting. This is an interesting perspective to see. The dude's like, hey, if you have a hack, monetize it. If you got information, this dude's like, if you got information, just make sure you don't get cheated on that information. Get your money, pal. It's interesting. And I mean, at least he's saying like, don't sell it to the wrong, don't sell it on the black market, for example, because hey, those people want it as much as the white hat market wants it, maybe more. I don't know what he was talking about when he said they try to get you to meet them on a shipping container and something. And it's like, that sounds super, super sketchy. Hey, I want to buy your information. Meet me on this shipping container, like in the middle of the ocean. That is beyond sketchy. I hope there are probably some crazy stories behind people who've done that. But I don't know if they're ever sharing it. The hacker world is so tricky. It's trippy. So there are people like this dude who seem to be like, okay, I'm going to be a responsible hacker and, semi-responsible hacker and go through legal means to monetize my information. Maybe the responsible white hat hacker might go and talk to like Apple directly or whatever company that they got the exploit on and be like, hey, before I give this to any third party, interested party, you might be interested in this and I would like to get paid a bug bounty price. This is what these guys are paying. Maybe you could do the same thing. And I feel like that would be more of a fair approach to this because, I mean, you're not giving much information. I guess maybe they just don't want to like lose the opportunity if they were to talk to the company that has the exploit directly. Maybe they're like, oh, if I even show them how it works, maybe that'll be enough for them to patch it and boom, there goes the opportunity to make $1 million. Super movie type stuff.